Watch this video. It'll give you a different perspective on SNAP benefits and EBT. We've all heard it. If you give people help, the lazy ones will take advantage of the system. That's a scare tactic crafted by think tanks. Because here's the truth. The greedy ones already do take advantage of the system. It's not the guy buying groceries with EBT. It's corporations on Wall Street. 2018, Amazon posted $1.2 billion in profit. They paid zero federal corporate tax, and they got a $129 million refund. Nike, $2.9 billion in profit, zero in taxes, $109 million refund. FedEx, $1.2 billion in profit, zero in taxes. It's done with loopholes, shifting profits to tax havens like Ireland or the Cayman Islands, stock buybacks instead of increasing workers' wages, writing off private jets as business expenses, and accelerated depreciation that lets them deduct the cost of equipment years before it's even worn out. Then there's Big Oil, Chevron, Exxon pocketing billions in subsidies every year while recording record profits and poisoning the world. Or Boeing, which dodges taxes and gets massive government contracts paid for by you. The wildest part, these companies still rely on the same public services they refuse to fund: roads, ports, courts, police, and an educated workforce. And then you're trained to get online and rage about a single mom on food stamps. Meanwhile, the real welfare recipients wear $2,000 suits, run Fortune 500 companies, and call senators by their first name. You pay roughly $36 a year in taxes for SNAP. You pay over $500 for corporate tax breaks. The system isn't being abused from the bottom up, it's being drained from the top. The people telling you to blame the poor, they're working for the rich.
All right, Shalom.
Watch.
Want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Makakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, salutation to all the brothers and the few sisters out there, unto the Zay foreigners, seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. We've been saying this for a long period of time, through the spirit of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, and this is the spirit of divide and conquer, and the divide and conquer concept is to have the people on the low turn on each other while the people on top, like you make, first thing that you make mention of is the think tank. The think tank is a group of individuals who come up with their deep counsel on how to make the people suffer. They can't tell you straight up because they know that the people would revolt, and there's more people than them that's on the position of power. So they need to divide the people. Wow, there's a lot of scriptures coming in my mind. They need a thing to divide the people, and the way they train everybody or indoctrinated people, they indoctrinated to make you think a certain way. All right, and that way that you think is of their educational system. This is why what's the word I'm looking for? I always bring it up. Rockefeller educational system. I remember growing up, you are your family's hope. That bullshit. Like, you can make it, and this, that, to the third, and they'll have you feel that the ones that's previous to you, how they were lesser. And this is what this society produced. It produces people that think they're far better than anybody else. Real quick, since I said the think tank, right? Isaiah 29 and 15, it says, woe unto them that seek deep to how they counsel from the Lord. The NIV, woe to those who go to great depths to hide their plans from the Lord, who do their work in darkness and think, who seeth us, who will know? Those are those think tanks. They put everybody in a certain situation where everybody turns on each other. Now, I was, you gotta, in this thing of ours, you gotta think. You gotta see between what's being told, what you're being fed, and what's realistic. A lot of times we get angry towards our own people, rightfully so, because majority of our people they ain't shit. But they ain't shit for a reason. And a lot of us grew up in poverty. And unbeknownst to us, it was not because the people decide not to do that. The reason why they gave up was because the pressure that's coming from the people that's on top. They created a system that will have you desire to leave poverty by any means necessary. The goal of the game is to get out of poverty. All right, which all of us can all agree. Nobody likes to be poor, but they have us do what? Chase what? Chase the bag. And I almost bring this out. Period. So to give you a foolish task. Let me get this NIV on Proverbs NIV. It says Proverbs 11:4. Wealth is worthless in a day of wrath. Oh, I'm sorry. No, not this one. Not this one. That one's good though, but that doesn't go with that one. Wings. They give you this pointless task that everybody desires. Wings, money. Uh, I know. I just put that just to put it, but it's in Proverbs. I know. Slovakia. Hmm. Oh, I put money. I'm sorry. I was supposed to wings. And this is what they have you chasing, right? And everybody, you hear it, music, you see it with your own eyes. And it says, Proverbs 23:5, "Wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings. They fly away as an eagle towards heaven." So riches, money, they have you chasing your whole entire life. So you believe in your mind that you're far better than anybody else because either you achieve this goal, this impossible goal, you one of the many. So when you have this pride thing going, you look down at your neighbor. All right, you look down at the person that's beside you and say, why you not rich? All this is just for people to turn against one another. Proverbs 6 and I'm gonna start at 16. It says, "Six things doeth the Lord hate. Yes, seven is an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, and a heart that deviseth wicked imagination, feet that be swift in running to mischief, false witness." And who's guilty of all this? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. A false witness that speak of lies, he that soweth discord among brethren. So the powers that be sow discord amongst people. That's this all divide and conquer tactic. All right. They look down at those that don't have, the have-nots. The have-nots is looked down upon in society. Let me get this one too. James 2 and 6. 5. No, I'll say 6. "But ye that despise the poor, do not the rich men oppress you, enjoy you before the judgment seat?" And this is why people, when you see other people that is less fortunate, you're not supposed to be judging them Period. I was looking for it, but there's a scripture in the pocket for that the Lord is the one that made people poor. Well, that made your brother poor for you to take care of him, basically, because it's the law. All right. Leviticus 13. Leviticus 19 and 13. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him the wages of him that is hired. Shall not abide with thee all night until morning. So off top, America's guilty. And why is it guilty for? Because people work. You work 9 to 5, 10 hours, whatever. And all you work, you supposed to get paid that day. All this shit with this whole government shutdown and the federal workers um not getting paid, according to the scriptures, that's unlawful. All right. And then what did Trump say? He said basically he demanded people get back to work. All right. He demanded them to get back to work. And it doesn't work like that. They supposed to get paid for the time that they spend in the office, all right, of doing anything. It says, thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but thou shalt fear the Lord thy power. I am the Lord. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shall thou judge thy neighbor. And in this society, you are judged by your outward look. So if you look poor, you being treated a certain way. And this is human nature, but they accelerate that thought process. Remember what the man said, that think tank. It's all about that think tank. And that think tank is not ordinary people. They put these assimilations long ago. They know exactly what would happen if the government shut down for X amount of time. The proper response that they desire is for the uproars of the people. Now, human nature, humans are violent to a certain degree, but um, but humans also enjoy what? Peace. So when you throw certain things at people and you force people to do certain to think a certain way, they expect a response. All right. Now it says so this planning, these think tanks, is all to push the people to a breaking point. Psalm 64, which we all know what Psalm 64 is about that ultimate think tank. And it says, Psalm 64, I start at 1, Psalm of David. Hear my word, my voice, O Yahweh, and my prayer, preserve my life from the fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. So the think tank is the people that's in the position of power. All right. And those people that's in position of power is what the world considered to be what? The illuminating ones. All right. The Illuminati. They are the ones that come up with these ideas. Well, they themselves don't come up with the ideas. Well, they come up with the ideas and they tell the higher elites, like, this is what we're planning. All right. From the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. When you look up the word insurrection, which I have done, is to throw off the order. The order that was established was the order that the Lord established. Even in the scriptures, even according to the law of the Most High, it's supposed to be a welfare system. The welfare system is supposed to be people. If you have a vineyard or so forth, the poor was be able to. You're not supposed to take in the harvest. You're not supposed to take everything. And once you're supposed to leave a small portion for somebody that's less fortunate. That's a welfare system. There's nothing wrong with that. But this devil created a welfare system that was only for his people. But the rich, the very rich, benefit from that welfare system. All right. They the ones like they said, and I was saying that for long ago. You know how many government programs that are out there to aid people to get them out of poverty, all right, which is a form of a welfare system. All right. The job, we call this shit again? Like the temp jobs, all right, which could be the city, Temp jobs could be the city that assisted, but most likely is the government. The government gives the cities a certain amount, and they with that they themselves give people a chance to get out of poverty, right? And most of the welfare, you don't just get stuff just to get it. You get stuff to what? To help you get out of that situation. You see? So all the government does is get themselves out of all the government does get themselves out of paying taxes. All right. That little video also forgot to say that during the pandemic, Amazon was like worth millions of dollars, but they crossed the $1 billion mark. They said the money, they said exactly how much it was, but then they say where it at that moment where it started up at. So it says, who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Who's the perfect? Israel. So you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They made it, well, not a skit, but they was in the 70s, called her the welfare queen. And ever since then, the black woman was the face of welfare. When you have Edomites that have been on welfare, once again, this whole United States is higher ups helping the poor people. You have people that come from other nations that get straight up loans to start businesses, and they dirt poor from whatever country they come from, but yet they get to do that. But they want to slander you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who so happens to be under the poverty line. All right. They encourage themselves in the evil matter that they commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? Let me see what it says right here. It says they encourage each other in evil plans. A think tank. They talk about hiding their snares, which are traps. They say, who will see it? Who will see it? They throw a net on your foot, under your foot. You walk in that net, and then what end up happening? Once somebody crosses that net, you trap them. So they entrapped everybody. They search out iniquity. Let me read this in NIV. It says they plot injustice and saying we have devised a perfect plan. Surely the human mind, surely the human mind and the heart are cunning. Wow, I never read this version before. So there you go. This is the perfect plan. This is the plan that they have installed. This is the plan that they have in mind. All right. It's how to trap the poor. That's all this game is about. It's about entrapping the poor. Sirach, which one I want to get? 10 and 20. Oh, wow. I did not realize that. And 23, it says, it is not meet to despise a poor man that have understanding, neither is it convenient to magnify a sinful man. And in the society that we live in, that's all they do is magnify the sinful man. All right. This whole entire structure is corrupt, and the poor always get out of a jam, no matter who they are. All right. Matter of fact, since I'm in Sirach 13, and I'm sorry, 15. It says, "Every beast loveth his own kind, love is his like." Sorry, and every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. What fellowship have the wolf with the lamb, so the sinner with the godly? What agreement between the hyena and the dog? And what peace between the rich and the poor? As the wild ass is the lion's prey in the wilderness, so the rich eat up the poor. Which we always bring this out because this is exactly what's happened. You are unprotected. What it says, what the scripture says, it says, the scripture says, let me read it again. It says, as the wild ass is the lion's prey in the wilderness, so the rich eat up the poor. So the rich devours the poor. All right. Oh, money is a defense. So if you don't have money, you're defenseless. All right. This is what everybody been crying about. You need to have a lawyer for this. You need to do this. You need to do that. Just to have, just to be protected. And it says it says, as pride hate humility, so doeth the rich abhor the poor. A rich man begin to fall and is held up of his friends. And you notice that everybody has gotten bailed out. The very corrupt system that puts this place on a downward spiral, so to speak, with mismanagement, they always find a way out of their situation. Why? Because their friends always attempt to help. When Donald J. Trump, the current president, he had his real estate, he was known for real estate, and he was going in bankruptcy. You had a couple of small hatters that aided him out of that. So he had plenty of helpers. All right. They had plenty of helpers. It says, he speaketh things not to be spoken, yet men justify him. The poor man slip, and yet they rebuke him too. He spake wisely, it couldn't have no place. When the rich man speaketh, every man holds his tongue, and look what he have to say, that exalt it to the clouds. But if the poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this? And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him. So we live in a society that only sees there's a true respect of persons. And the ones that's really doing harm to the average person gets away with everything scot-free because they're poor. And all you can you hear people when they talk about certain rich people, what they'll say how good they are, look how smart they are. You know, they put everything under taxes. They got countless lawyers, but you do try to resemble that. You get scrutinized, all right, because it's a secret club, and the average person is not invited to that club. That's what people got to understand. That's why, matter of fact, let me go back to Proverbs. Where? Oh, that was the Lord. Proverbs 6:12 now. It says, a naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a forward mouth. He winketh with his eyes. He speaketh with his feet. He teacheth with his fingers. So these illuminated ones, they speak in code. Their job is to ensure that the poor remains in the poor position. This is why you have certain people that were selected amongst different groups to ensure the poor people stay poor and the rich be protected. All right. And they speak in code. Forwardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord, which is what it says in NIV, whose plots evil with deceit in his heart. He always stirs up conflict. So what is a conflict? People are talking, oh, why are these people making X amount of money? Why are these people this? I only get this. I should be getting this. And everybody that's fighting is fighting in a position of not having anything because it's all by design. All right. Everything that's being done is by design. It's to have the rich remain rich and the poor be crushed. So anybody that comes up with any idea, you have no voice because you're not rich. You're not successful. Okay. You're not successful. So your voice don't matter according to things of this world. That's well, I'm not gonna get that one, but in Ecclesiastes it tell you about the poor wise men, all right, that saved the city. And the Lord did this on purpose because the Lord can raise anybody out of poverty. Matter of fact, since I said that, it says Sirach 29, 29 and 8. You have yet have thou patience with a poor man in his, a man in poor estate. Delay not, show him mercy. That's not the one. There's one that says, oh, okay, 30. Sirach 30 and 14. Better is the poor being sound and strong in constitution than the rich that is afflicted in his body. Sirach 29 and 22. Better is the life of a poor man in a mean and cottage than a delicate fare in others man's house. And see, Sirach 31 and 4. The poor laboreth in his poor estate, and when he leaveth off, he's still needy. Boom, boom, boom. Sirach 35 and 13. He will not accept any person against a poor man, but will hear the prayer of the oppressed. So the Lord designed this current system. Matter of fact, I ended off in here. James, so that way he can judge people. Scripture says to know who you do good to, do to the godly. Those are less fortunate. You're not supposed to hold back your hand to the poor. Matter of fact, that was what I was looking for too. Let me see if it's there. Hold on, real quick. It says, nah, it's supposed to be up here then. It's supposed to be up here. It says, not to hold back. Oh, Sirach 7 and 32. And stretch, let me go to this. 31. Fear the Lord and honor the priest and give him his portion as is commanded thee. The first fruits, the trespassing offering, and the gift of his shoulders, and sacrifice of the sanctification, and the first fruit of the holy things. Stretch thine hand unto the poor, that thou blessing may be perfect. So you're supposed to stretch out your hand to the poor. So Esau played a game where he could go and be as a hypocrite and show that he cares, but he doesn't. All right. James 2 and 5. Hearken, my beloved brethren, have not the Most High chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom which he hath promised to them that love him. And that's why the Lord did that for. The meek shall inherit the earth. Okay, so everything's happened. It was a system that was made. That it was a system to entrap everyone. All right. So with that being said, hey, every day Esau is being exposed. This whole entire thing against the less fortune is by design. Why the very rich been that's how they got their startup. Exactly how they got their startup. They needed aid. All right. No, none of these people went to that's on top position of these fortune corporations went to colleges. All right. Everything was handed down to through them by their bloodline. All right. They had trust fund babies, and they have everybody fooled that you have to work extra hard. You got to do this. That's all by design. It was a design to fool the people. All right, so they could rob the people. Okay, but yet the Lord is the one that's going to get us out of this situation. So with that being said, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.